Is the Meta Quest 3 worth it? Well, in this video I'm going to share with you all that. Of course, I'm a few weeks into it and played many games, tried many apps, some experimental ones, and even tried creating some things myself in Unity just to test things out. Well, out of the bulk, 30% smaller profile. Yeah, great. Well, feels more comfortable overall? Yes. Whether it's the reason for me to upgrade to the Quest 3? No. Make it 60% slimmer, I'll be impressed. Regarding the controllers, we don't have the Ring anymore. For some reason, because of the lack of the top cameras compared to the Quest 2, I think there's some accuracy issues with that, but I haven't tested thoroughly. The new option to actually just pop the cover of the battery, thank you for that. Wow, so many people will love that feature. But to be honest with you, the thing that caught my attention the most and the reason I personally upgrade is the mixed reality feature, the depth scanning. Keep in mind, it still doesn't have high resolution. You still need to pre-scan things. Although there is an experimental feature where you have dynamic occlusion, where it's actually in real time scan for things. Again, it's experimental and it's far from being great. However, once you try the game that comes with it, this is first encounters, you really can understand why mixed reality is such an amazing technology. But again, in order to make the best use of it, you need to use the mesh, the depth scanning that can mesh the room and use it in order to make games. And of course, depends on the game. Some games won't benefit from it. And as of the time making this video, there aren't many of them that really make good use of it. But much more will come for sure. You can see here, for example, the real wardrobe, virtual character climbing on the wardrobe. It's just fascinating, especially if you see something like that for the first time. Although it's not the first time I experienced mixed reality because I experienced it in mobile, still, when you actually wear a headset, your hands are free, and you have a wide field of view, not viewing through a screen of a mobile phone, it's very, very impressive. But again, for some other games, they just added an update to include this feature. It feels more gimmicky. But still a nice addition for some apps, but I'm really waiting to try out those games or develop from the ground up for mixed reality. I tried also some demos which are really cool, like throwing just balls to see how they bump into all the surfaces. The thing that I found that I can actually use both the planes and the mesh. It's either mesh or the planes. Nonetheless, it's much better compared to the Quest 2, what you see here when I tried to play a game and create all the surfaces by myself. It took a long time, especially for a big environment. Regarding the screen, it is sharper, not by a huge margin, but definitely visible. Because eventually everything you're going to see through the screen, it's very important that it will be higher quality. And yeah, it's a higher quality. It doesn't mean that you won't see pixels, there are, but much less visible. Now I have to admit that it doesn't matter which app I use, most of the time, even just browsing through the menu of the Quest, I do it in mixed reality. Because sometimes you don't want to disconnect from reality, you want to stay in reality. And this just actually shows me how more excited I am to actually use an app in mixed reality, which is part of my world, than just being outside of it. Of course, each one has its own advantages, and sometimes you're going to find apps that actually mix between the two, make something totally VR and then take you out to your real world and back again to VR. So basically, again, with this headset, it's interchangeable, and depends on how developers want to create their apps. You can just mix and match and create something unique and interesting. And because the camera Passthrough, which is now of course color compared to black and white, and 10 times more resolution, you really feel like you're connected with the world. Although again, this is not an optical view, real world view of the scene. You see actually the real world through a display. So again, it has disadvantages, but also advantages as well. For example, you can actually see content which is opaque rather than semi-transparent compared to some of the AR headset, mixed reality headset out there that actually, not headsets, they actually use just glasses, where you basically see the world just through a glass and the virtual content is projected to your eyes. And this is why you can actually see the content totally opaque. But again, technologies might find solution for that one as well. And I can tell you straight away that I didn't still get my return of investment still, because again, I'm waiting for more mixed reality to appear rather than those who kind of feel more augmented reality, not really connected with the world. But again, as I mentioned, more will come. But you can understand, mixed reality will thrive once you'll be able to conveniently use it outdoors. It will be, of course, in a smaller form factor that you can wear all day. And also, we're going to need to see more AI implementation. For example, now we have OpenAI GPTs, which can bring so many utility and extra integration with certain mixed reality apps that can really enhance it. Same goes to object recognition, that none of the apps that I actually seen actually use anything. I mean, Meta SPI for object recognition should come soon, I believe. But again, I think there are third parties that can be used, but I haven't seen anything just yet. There's maybe one app that I'm actually waiting for a key to test it out that use object recognition, but I haven't tried it yet on the Quest 3. But you need to understand the combination of both AI again and other computer vision technologies with mixed reality, and of course in a smaller form factor. This is what's going to make the ultimate change, basically. We are not there just yet, but we are very close to it. Now, when it comes to hand tracking, the hand tracking was very accurate. Although I notice, of course, when it comes to occlusion, that the hands are not occluded. They actually, because it's a separate layer, video layer, it appears underneath virtual content. Although with the depth API, which is still experimental, this is possible, but not to really very accurate degree compared to what I've seen on mobile phones, for example. So the idea is that content is dynamically moving in the environment, like my body and my hands, for example, any other thing, will be able to be appear on top of virtual content. And with the depth API, it is. But even with the soft occlusion, which is a more accurate version of it, it's still far from being perfect. So again, the idea with mixed reality that you won't even can tell the difference between the two. Everything will be kind of seamless with the virtual and the real world. But with the Quest 3, we're definitely not there. The technologies are there, but they are more expensive in certain implementations. And of course, we need powerful hardware in order to support them. And it seems that with the Quest 3, we are just not there yet. But I do expect improvement to introduce down the road with further optimizations. But yeah, it's disappointing because I don't want to see half-baked solution. I want to see something that works great. Now, in terms of battery life, well, when you use mixed reality, it drains the battery life like crazy. Well, I expected that. I remember even using on my phones, even on my tablet, it just drains the battery because again, the camera active all the time, all the computational things that running in the background. Again, it will be even worse when we have dynamic occlusion, where the camera needs to scan, the depth scan would need to be active all the time. Right now, it's actually kind of a fix to scan the environment, it remembers it. But again, if you make changes to the environment, unless you use, of course, the depth API, it won't actually reflect the real changes in the scene. This means that many times that I play a lot, I actually use I'm connected with a cable to my PC, so it continue charging it. But there are ways, of course, to improve the battery, some optimizations to reduce battery consumption. But nonetheless, there's definitely the problem is that it does consume a lot of battery, and this is something that eventually, especially when you go outdoors, needs to be solved. Regarding the Quest 3, if you're playing a lot in mixed reality, you probably want to find yourself connected. Again, honestly, it's a less lengthier gameplay session, but still, enough time for you to enjoy. Many people don't spend many hours in VR or mixed reality. So again, it's adequate, but needs to be improved at some point, especially when we're going forward with it. Now, to be honest with you, I was expecting to see more evolutionary technologies when it comes to batteries, but I've been seeing lots of changes, in the last couple of years. That being said, I think that many of the changes will come from the computer type, the chips basically, the CPU and the GPU, that will be designed to consume much less power. And also maybe some technologies that take the battery and something you put it externally and you just transmit power over the air or something like that. There are advanced technologies out there, but of course they're not implemented in the Quest 3. But imagine something that instead of like we have, for example, cellular towers, when you can actually use internet outdoors, if you have some kind of like power towers that can actually power your devices while you actually walk outdoors, and it will do this over the air. I don't know what the implications of that, I'm just saying something like that would be cool. But you need to understand that mixed reality enhances some of experiences that, for me at least, otherwise that I experienced them in VR compared to mixed reality, it felt so much better in mixed reality. Really, it just, the presentation itself, because it's mixed reality, because it's in my space, it just felt so much better. By that I mean that going to be some apps that previously you use them in VR, they're going to have their mixed reality mode, and you can just go back and try them out in mixed reality, especially now that you have the color pass-through, they're going to find it to be much more, entertaining and fun. And this is something that you can just go through the libraries and apps that you already have and see if they actually got updates for mixed reality, or if they had and you didn't enjoy them with the black and white pass-through, try them out with the color pass-through and see how well they work for you now. Now, the other things that I really want to see, for example, like shadows appearing naturally on real physical surfaces in the environment. Seeing, for example, light reflects more naturally on surfaces, kind of closing the gap between the virtual and the real world. And there are ways to do this, at least kind of cheaty ways to do this. And just more apps will try to implement their own ways to actually, again, shorten the gap between the virtual and the and the real world to make mixed reality more immersive and fun. We also see some innovative apps, like for example, like Pillow, for example, which is designed for you to enjoy while actually lying down on your bed. Yeah, this is unique and very, very interesting, especially now with the color pass-through. It just feels so much better. We just lie down and basically you consume content that is designed for the ground up for that particular purpose. So again, expect lots of developers coming with some really unique and interesting ideas that really make good use of the mixed reality, not something that's just gimmicky and really doesn't have add a lot to the experience. Of course, there are more fine changes, like the ability to change the diopter with just using a scroll button, physical one, at the headset rather than do it physically on the lenses themselves. Now, the facial interface padding has been improved. There's also built-in spacers. If you use glasses, you can easily just press a button on both sides and kind of increase the height, which is a really cool feature. The sound has been improved. You can actually see that the sides are actually thicker now, and the bass has been improved, so it sounds overall better. So again, if you take everything into consideration, the Quest 3 is definitely worth the upgrade over the Quest 2. Then we can expect, of course, some games to either have an upgrade or just those who actually built from the ground up for Quest 3 to look better because of the faster GPU. Even, by the way, playing this pool game, I really wanted to have kind of real-world reflections on top of the balls, not fake ones. Although again, the Quest 3 is a very important milestone when it comes to bringing mixed reality to consumers. I think we kind of, 1 or 2 generations before we can really take advantage of it fully, or maybe 2 generations until we be able to take something like that outdoors and really open up all the different possibilities, which are, well, endless, basically. Because indoors, again, it's still very much limited. And when it comes even to gaming, it is limited. But when you go outdoors, everything will open up. We're not there yet. Of course, you can use the Quest 3 outdoors if you want to. For example, there was one simulation game where you can actually play tennis, we just play it in mixed reality, and it's going to be really fun once you're playing in a big yard. So yes, although the Quest 3, again, is a good upgrade, it's still not something that totally revolutionized our life. Again, we still need, again, all these complementary technologies and the hardware and the smaller form factor to combine together to really make something extraordinary that will completely change and revolutionize our life. Now, I also need to consider the fact that, again, the Quest 3 years ago, and if you're buying a new device, you want it to be more future-proof, although you don't, again, actually see it now, right, when many games are not actually optimized or released to take good use of the mixed reality, but many more will come. So if you really want a device, you're going to be more future-proof, and again, you're going to stay with us. Again, if you use the Quest 3 for, I don't know, 1 year or 2 years from now, you're probably going to feel that you are missing on a lot of apps that actually make use of the new technologies and the power of the Quest 3. So again, although for some, there might not be a sufficient reason to actually go for it, because again, many games will be developed for both the Quest 3 and the Quest 3 with enhancement for the Quest 3, while other ones are going to be dedicated for the Quest 3 and make use of the mixed reality features of the depth scanning, which isn't available on the Quest 2. Again, this is why I think the Quest 3 is a very worthy upgrade. Who knows, maybe Apple will release in 2025 something that will compete against it with cheaper price, Vision Pro. That you're going to say, all right, this is a much better. We see it's going to be lots of competition very soon, not just from Facebook and Apple. I don't want to miss, to be honest, all the amazing mixed reality features that are going to come, especially when AI will be combined with the depth scanning and all the future technologies that Meta can add also to the Quest 3 as well, like the AI, and it's going to be amazing. And I don't want to miss that. That's why I upgraded to the Quest 3. So what about you? Tell me your thoughts. Are you going to just wait for the Apple Vision Pro next version? They're going to be the cheaper version. We're going to wait for the Quest 4, or we're going to wait for maybe another company diving into it and going to add all the missing features that the Quest has in a similar price. Well, let me know in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, everybody.